The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
In the years since Princess Diana's death, one question has haunted royal watchers more than almost any other. What happened to her jewels? The sapphires, the emeralds, the diamonds that once graced the neck and wrists of the most photographed woman in the world, where did they go? For decades, the palace offered careful, measured answers. Some pieces went to William, some to Harry. The rest, we were told, were held in trust for future generations. But reports emerging in early 2026 suggest a very different story, one involving missing inventories, disputed inheritances, and jewels that may have quietly changed hands without anyone outside the family ever knowing. This isn't just about diamonds and pearls, it's about control, legacy, and who gets to decide what a royal woman's life was worth after she's gone. Let's dive into it. To understand what happened to Diana's jewels, we need to go back to the beginning. When Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles in 1981, she entered the royal family with almost no personal jewellery of her own. What she wore came from three sources. First, pieces loaned to her by the Queen from the royal collection. Second, gifts from foreign dignitaries during official tours. And third, jewellery purchased for her by Charles himself, often using funds from the Duchy of Cornwall. The most famous piece, of course, was her engagement ring. The 12-carat oval blue sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds. It was not a family heirloom. Charles chose it from a selection presented by Garrard, the crown jeweller. That ring alone is now valued at over $500,000. But it was just one piece in a collection that grew substantially over the 15 years of her marriage. By the time of her divorce in 1996, Diana's personal jewellery collection was estimated to include more than 300 individual pieces. Tiaras, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, brooches. Some were iconic. The Cambridge Lover's Knot tiara, a personal favourite she wore constantly in the 1980s. The Saudi Sapphire Suite, a wedding gift featuring a watch, pendant, earrings, ring and bracelet, all set with cabochon sapphires and diamonds. The Swan Lake Suite from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Each piece carried not just monetary value, but historical weight. They were symbols of her status, her tours, her transformation from shy aristocrat to global icon. When she died on August 31st, 1997, every single one of those pieces became part of an estate that had no clear legal roadmap. Here's where it gets complicated. Diana's will, written in 1993, 4 years before her death, made no specific mention of jewellery. It named her mother, Frances Shand Kidd, and her sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, as executors. It divided her estate equally between William and Harry, but it did not list individual items. It did not specify which pieces were hers personally versus which were on loan from the royal collection. And it did not account for the jewels given to her by foreign governments, which under royal protocol technically belong to the state, not the individual. In the months following her death, Buckingham Palace took possession of most of Diana's jewellery. Officially, this was for safekeeping. The pieces were to be held in trust until William and Harry came of age. But according to sources who spoke to the Daily Mail in 2025, the palace did more than just store them. They conducted a full inventory audit. And what that audit revealed, one insider claimed, was that several pieces were unaccounted for. No official list of missing items has ever been released. But reports from Closer Weekly suggest at least 3 significant pieces could not be located in the immediate aftermath of her death. A diamond bracelet Charles gave her in 1983, a pair of emerald and diamond earrings she wore during the India tour in 1992, and a sapphire ring distinct from her engagement ring that she was photographed wearing at a charity gala in 1995. Whether these pieces were lost, stolen, sold by Diana herself before her death, or simply mislabeled in palace records, remains unclear. What is clear, according to royal commentator Maureen Callahan, is that the palace conducted the audit quietly and shared the results with no one outside a small circle of senior staff and the Spencer family executors. Fast forward to 2004. William turns 22. By the terms of Diana's will and subsequent agreements brokered between the Spencers and the palace, both William and Harry were to be given the opportunity to select personal items from their mother's estate. William chose first. He selected the Cartier watch Diana wore almost daily in the final years of her life. He also took several pieces of her less formal jewelry, items she wore privately rather than on state occasions. But he did not take the engagement ring. That decision, sources say, was deliberate. William wanted Harry to have it. He believed Harry, who struggled more visibly with the loss, needed a piece that carried the most emotional resonance. So the sapphire ring sat in the palace vault for another 6 years. In 2010, everything changed. Prince William proposed to Catherine Middleton on a safari in Kenya. He used his mother's engagement ring. The symbolism was not subtle. Diana's ring, the most recognizable piece of jewelry she ever wore, was now on the finger of the woman who would one day be queen. It was framed in press coverage as a beautiful gesture, a way of ensuring Diana was present at her son's wedding. But according to an insider who spoke to OK magazine in 2024, Harry was reportedly surprised by the decision. Not upset, the source clarified, but surprised. He had assumed the ring would remain his, as William had indicated years earlier. What changed William's mind? The source suggested it was not William's choice alone. Senior advisors within the palace, including private secretaries and possibly the Queen herself, believed the ring should stay with the direct line of succession. Harry, at the time still third in line, was expected to marry eventually. But his wife would never be Queen consort. The ring, they argued, should belong to the woman who would. This left Harry with a decision to make when he proposed to Meghan Markle in 2017. He designed a new ring, using 2 diamonds from Diana's personal collection as side stones. The center stone was a diamond from Botswana, a country significant to Harry and Meghan's early relationship. It was a beautiful piece, but it was not his mother's engagement ring, and for some close to the situation, that distinction mattered. One source told Radar Online in 2023 that Harry felt the ring redistribution was part of a larger pattern. A pattern in which Diana's legacy and the physical objects tied to it were being controlled and allocated by the institution rather than by her sons according to their own preferences or memories. Then there is the matter of the pieces that neither William nor Harry received. The Cambridge Lovers' Knot tiara, for example, was never given to either son. It was loaned to Diana by the Queen during her marriage. After the divorce, she returned it. Since William's marriage, Catherine has worn it on multiple occasions, but it has never been formally gifted to her. It remains part of the Queen's personal collection, now under the management of King Charles. Similarly, the sapphire suite from Saudi Arabia has never been seen in public since Diana's death. Royal jewelry expert Ella Kay told The Telegraph in 2022 that the suite is believed to still be held in the royal vault, but its legal status is murky. Was it a gift to Diana personally, or to the Princess of Wales as a title? If the former, it should have passed to William and Harry. If the latter, it remains property of the Crown. And then there is Camilla. Reports began circulating in late 2023, according to sources cited by the National Examiner, that Queen Camilla had been seen wearing a diamond and emerald brooch that closely matched one Diana had worn in the early 1990s. Photographs from a state banquet were analysed by jewellery historians who noted the similarity. Buckingham Palace never commented. But the speculation triggered a new wave of questions. If pieces from Diana's collection are being worn by Camilla, were they reassigned by Charles? Were they always part of the royal collection and therefore his to allocate as king? Or were they taken from the trust meant for William and Harry without their knowledge or consent? No definitive answers have been provided, but the silence itself has fueled suspicion. Joe Little, managing editor of Majesty magazine, noted in a 2025 interview that the royal family has always been opaque about jewellery ownership. Unlike other royal families, the British monarchy does not publish inventories of personal versus state jewels, what belongs to the monarch personally, What belongs to the institution and what belongs to individual family members is often unclear even to those inside the family. In Diana's case, that ambiguity has allowed for decisions to be made behind closed doors with little accountability. So, where do things stand now? According to the most recent reports, William and Harry have both received portions of their mother's jewellery. Catherine wears the engagement ring. Meghan has incorporated Diana's diamonds into her own pieces, but an estimated 40 to 50 pieces from Diana's original collection remain unaccounted for in any public record. Some may be held in trust for George, Charlotte, and Louis. Some may have been returned to foreign governments as protocol required. Some may be in the private collections of other royals, including Camilla, and some, as the 1997 audit may have suggested, may simply be gone. What this reveals is not just a story about missing jewels. It's a story about how legacy is managed, controlled, and sometimes rewritten. Diana's jewellery was never just decoration. Each piece represented a moment, a tour, a triumph, a compromise. When those pieces are redistributed, hidden, or worn by others, the story of her life is quietly edited. And the people with the least say in that process are the two people who loved her most. The palace has remained silent on all inquiries. The Spencer family has declined to comment, and the jewels themselves, those glittering, haunting relics of a life lived under unimaginable scrutiny, remain locked away, some on display, some in darkness, all of them waiting.